Hello guys, welcome back to Mobile Loves Football. Welcome back to my channel. We are back again today with a new topic. We're going to discuss about Liverpool. And we're going to look at the crisis that Liverpool are facing at the moment. You already know that Liverpool have not won a Premier League game ever since the season started. They've been having a crisis. They lost one of the important player, that is Sadio Mane, who left the club, went to Bayern Munich. He's been doing well at Bayern, and they really missed him. They really miss him. You look at the midfield, it seems that there's a crisis at the midfield, and it's really worrying Liverpool fans. I mean, we should really talk about them, and should now look at Liverpool and the midfield that they have. Do they really have a crisis? Do Liverpool really have a crisis? And if you think they have a crisis, you can go ahead and comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about Liverpool. Tell me what you think about their midfield. Do you think that they have a midfield crisis? Do you think that they will come good at the end of the season? As most of the time they start very well, and this season seems that they are starting on a wrong foot. They don't have most of their players are injured. The likes of Thiago Alcantara is injured. Keita is injured. Of course, we know Fabinho is doing well at the midfield, but of course, they really need creative midfielders, and some of them are not there. Someone like Thiago Silva is not there. Thiago Alcantara is not there. So when you look at the midfield, there's something that you will find out. They're really having a crisis at the midfield. So they are depending on some of the young players they have. They have Elliott, they have Curtis Jones, and you look at them, and then they have Cavallo. Look at those players. They are not players that you will say that you will really say that you will go and rely on what they are doing. I mean, what they will do at the end of the season, the whole season, because they're still young. They need to have experience. They need to be in the Premier League and get a lot of experience from the games that they will be playing. So when you put them under a lot of pressure, they won't perform because of how it's going to be hard for them. Because the teams that they play for are big teams. Someone like Elliott, he's just 18 years old. He's still a teenager. Someone like Cavallo, still very young. Someone like Curtis Jones, still very young. Though they have a lot of experience, someone like Curtis Jones has been there for a long time. He has experience. Despite him having an experience, you would not expect him to perform as a seasoned midfielder who has been there, who has been playing there for a long time. So Klopp, you look at that, you realize that Klopp has a problem, has a challenge at the midfield. And the only way to fix that is to go and buy a seasoned midfielder, someone who is good, someone who has done it. So far, they've not bought anyone. They were linked with Mateus Nunes, who did end up going to Wolves. So far, I've not heard of any midfielder that they are linked with. So I'll be joined with my friend Reg. We'll be discussing about Liverpool. And so, welcome, guys. If you're here for the first time and you've not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing so that each and every time we have a live here, you will be the first one to know. And when we post our videos here, you'll be the first one to know. When we have some news that we want to share with you, you will be the first one to know, because sometimes we share news here that transfers some of the players that have been signed with these clubs: Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham. We do share a lot on players that are expected to be joining these clubs and the players that have already joined these clubs. We also give our opinions on how we expect these players to perform. So if you're here for the first time and you've jumped onto this video and you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because here you will get what you really want. And we also appreciate your following. If you have any information that you want to share with us and you have information that you want us to talk about, please do not shy away from sharing with us so that we can share it, so that we can also discuss it and give our opinion about the what you really want us to talk about. So welcome. If you are free to make the comments. Tell us what you think about Liverpool. Tell us what you think about the team. Do you think the team is now ready to after the difficult moment that they've had? Do you think that now they're ready to compete? If you feel they're ready to compete, you can always go ahead and tell us about it. So welcome, welcome so much. If you're here, you can tell me the city that you come from, the city that you're tuned in from. If you're tuned in from Nairobi, you can always tell me. If you're tuned in from Toronto, Canada, you can also tell me. If you're tuned in from Ireland, you can also share with me. If in Africa, you're tuned in from Abuja, Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, you can also tell me. So you're free to share with me where you're tuned in from and what you really have to share with me. Tell me what you think about Liverpool. What do you think about Liverpool, one of the biggest teams in England, a team that has a history, 5 times champions. Is it 5 or 6 times Champions League winners? They've really represented very well English Premier League. Been there for a long time, and it's something that makes each and everyone happy. So, I'm waiting for your comments. I'm waiting for your comments so that I can read them. Tell me what you think about Liverpool. Liverpool fans always say they never walk alone. Yo, baby.
Yes,
Yes, how are you?
very fine. How are you doing?
I'm good, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard that you've just come in from work.
Yes.
Okay, welcome, man.
Uh,
Welcome. So
yeah,
we
it
are
was a
here
very
talking
long day.
about Liverpool.
Yeah, but
Uh,
yes.
eventually, it's
Yeah.
done. Okay. Welcome. So what do you have to say about
Thank you so
Liverpool?
much.
They are simple crisis.
Actually, I think Liverpool are not at their best, and there are good reasons as to why this Liverpool team is not at their best, because we can see that these guys have not signed enough players. They signed Cavallo, and they signed Darwin Nunes, of which those are not they are not enough players. Actually, I expected to see more from Liverpool. I expected them to sign a midfielder, and not only one, like more than one, two or three. And I expected them to add more players, but that never happened. Actually, I even feel like all of us know that Sadio Mane left. He went to Bayern, and Sadio Mane has not yet been replaced. I don't think if Darwin Nunes was the right replacement for Sadio Mane. So I think Liverpool, we only have 1 week left, and I think Liverpool have to be very quick. They have to sign players, because if they do not sign players, then it will be another disaster for them, because they have a lot of injuries. A lot of players are injured, and the players who are injured, they are first team players. So I think it's not even about thinking. It's something that Liverpool has to sign new players. They have to get new players in order to compete.
Yeah, sure. They should at least look for new players to help the players that are there. because most of the players that are left at the midfield, especially, are young players. When you look at Elliot is young. When you look at Curtis Jones, still very young. They do not have so much experience to lead them going forward. And probably you will say someone like Thiago
Exactly.
Alcantara is not someone who you would really depend on for 30 to 20 games in a season. He's an injury-prone player. Someone like Keita is also an injury-prone player. So I think they should look beyond and try and sign new players. I heard they were supposed to sign Mateus Nunes from, was it from Sporting Lisbon? Unfortunately, they did not sign him. He ended up going to Wolves. So when you look at that, I don't really know what is happening at Liverpool and why they are not really trying to sign new players. I don't know why they are not signing new players, especially in the midfield, where they are not really doing well.
Yes, so I think Liverpool has to consider signing new players, because if they do not, or if they fail to sign new players, then they'll be getting the same results they've been getting since the start of this new season. Because we can see them struggling, we can see them straining. So that should tell you that it's not something you have to think about. It's not something that you should have a second thoughts about. Actually, it is something they have to do. It's a must for them to sign new players if they really want to compete. Not unless they don't want to compete, but if they want to compete, if they want to be at their best again, if they want to play like if they want to get a good results, then they have to sign good players. They have to spend.
Yeah. Now, when you look at, of course, I realize something at their defense. Van Dijk is slowing down. He doesn't have the intensity that he used to have, and something has changed from when he got an injury at Everton. Again, an injury that he got at Everton. Remember when they had a derby against Everton? Since then, he's not been the same Van Dijk that we knew. He's not been at the quality that we know him. We used to see him. Are you concerned? As of course, I know you are an Arsenal fan, and but I'm very sure with the quality that Van Dijk used to possess and how you view him as a person, do you think that he's really slowing down now, and he's not the point? I mean, it does not possess the same quality that he had before he got injured. Because when you look at the first game, was it the first game? They got a penalty.
Yes,
You remember the first game?
Actually, that does happen.
Yeah.
That does happen with a lot of players, not only him, because a lot of players, it's very hard to be consistent for more than 3 to 4 seasons. It's very hard, by the way, especially in the EPL. It's very hard. So at first you try to give your best. At first you try to do whatever you can so that you can play your best game. Actually, he has been really trying, but it's very hard to be consistent for like 3 or 4 consecutive seasons. Let me tell you something. A good example. Let me use Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka as a good example. Actually, Bukayo Saka was our best. Was the player of the season, Arsenal player of the season for 2 consecutive seasons. Last season and last season one, Bukayo Saka was the best Arsenal player. But actually, when last season finished, I told the guys that it will be very hard for Bukayo Saka to do. Actually, he will try. He will try because he's a good player, but it will be very hard for him to give his best compared to the last 2 seasons. Yeah. You know why? Because he has done a lot for the past 2 seasons. So you know what Mikel Arteta did? Mikel Arteta brought Gabriel Jesus. He brought actually Martinelli has been trying since the last season, and Mikel Arteta brought Marquinhos. of which Marquinhos has not yet played in the EPL, but he brought Marquinhos as like a backup. So that should tell you that these players who are like these players who try their best for these teams, they always need support. They always need backup. So you have to prepare yourself early enough. You have to prepare yourself early enough. So that should tell you, because you can see Van Dijk, apart from slowing down, he doesn't have like enough support, because we can see that Konate is injured. You can see that Matip is injured. So he cannot carry the whole team each and every time, each and every game, each and every season. He cannot carry the whole team. He cannot do his best for the whole team each and every time. So these players need backup. These players need motivation. And how can you motivate them? Sign new players. Bring in new players. So that's he cannot be consistent for like 4 seasons, 5. It's very hard. That is very hard. Yeah. So teams like Liverpool, a team like Liverpool should consider signing new players. And this is not the first time. Liverpool have been having this issue each and every time. You can see that teams are trying to sign, but as for them, they only sign like one player, and that's it for them. So you can see you can see their front line. They have Salah. Salah is a good player, but he's getting old.
Yeah, he's getting old.
They have Firmino. Firmino is getting old.
Yeah.
So they have Jota and they have Diaz.
Yeah.
We cannot say that those two players will carry the whole team.
Or you cannot put them in and out. Because some of them are getting old. Fabinho is also.
You cannot depend on them. You see, let me use. Arsenal is my team. I don't want to talk about it that much. Maybe, but let us use Arsenal as a good example. We have a squad with very young players.
Yeah.
Our squad has a very young, a lot of them. We have players who are getting old, like Shaka. Shaka is 29. We have Thomas Partey. We have Cedric. We have El Neni. Those are the senior players we have. But the rest of the players are very young. That should tell you something. We are trying to rebuild the team. So by the end of let's give them like 2 more seasons. Actually, you see the work Arteta was trying to do the team. So that is what I'm talking about. Liverpool have to rebuild the team before it gets too late. You can see that this Barcelona had Vidal, they had Rakitic, they had Messi, they had Busquets, they had Alba, they had Piqué. All of them were like over 30 years old. And we saw what happened with Barcelona. They were like conceding goals each and every game. They were losing games. Why? Because actually they came to realize that let's let go of these old players. They actually they never established themselves. They never bought young players. That's why now from the moment they let the older players leave, like Rakitic and Vidal, that's when they brought in Pedri, Ansu Fati. But before then, they were conceding goals because these guys were not they were not rebuilding the team. Because the moment you realize you have old players in your team, many old players, you should be ready. You should organize yourself. You should buy new players, young players. You should so that they can get used to the game. They can get used to playing around the players with experience, so that you give them like a few seasons. After the few seasons, when they catch up, then that will be very nice for the team. But if you are waiting for the old players to leave and you've not established your team well enough, then it will be an issue.
It will be an issue. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much for those who are watching. Please, I can see you guys watching. If you're here for the first time and you've not subscribed to the channels, please consider subscribing and tell us what you think about Liverpool. Of course, we've seen Liverpool has not been having good results ever since the season started. And this, you can also date back to when the season was ending last season. Remember, they were in 3 finals, in fact. They didn't score any goal. They got to 2 finals against Chelsea at Carabao, FA. They didn't score a goal. Of course, they got the victory, they got the 2 trophies, Carabao and FA, but that was decided through penalties. So tell us what you think about Liverpool. Do you think Liverpool are now facing a crisis? Is it an end of an era that they had, a successful era that they had? Do you think Liverpool are also struggling because they lost money to Bayern Munich, or you think Liverpool are also having a crisis because of some of the injuries that they're having? If you also think their crisis is through maybe they've lost or rather they've not signed any players that are improving their club, you can also tell us in the comment section below, and you can also tell us where you're watching us from. Tell us where you are tuned in from, the country, the city, and also the continent. Please, you can also tell us in the comment section below. Now, when you look at Liverpool, especially at their defense, there is no one who maybe will come in and replace someone like Van Dijk. There is no one who will come in and replace someone like, especially on the right-hand side. They don't have a replacement for someone like Trent. So what do you have to say about that? Because when you look at the right-hand side, there's no one who can come and fill in that position.
Which position?
I'm talking of the right back, because the left back they have Simicas, and the right back they don't have anyone who will come and fill the position.
Yeah. So actually, that's the problem with Liverpool. Actually, that's what I'm talking about. Actually, these guys have to have backup players. It's very important for a team to have backup players. It's very important for a team which wants to compete to have squad depth. Nowadays teams are trying. In the process of fighting for something, you fight for something, and at the same time you rebuild. Actually, you rebuild the team. It is a two-in-one situation. It is a two-in-one situation. You do them at the same time. A very good example is Real Madrid. You can see those guys. They have old players, but at least in each and every position, they have a young player as a backup player. You can see they have Vinicius Jr. He's a very young player. They have Valverde, they have Camavinga, and they have the new boy they signed from Monaco. They have a lot of young players. So at the same time, they are competing, but at the same time, they are rebuilding the team. Because even when someone leaves, even when an old player leaves, a player with experience, actually you'll find that there is another young player who can play at that position. Yeah, but if you want to wait, actually, for someone to leave, and that's when you'll remember that I have to sign a new player. That's a very big problem. Actually, you have to be ready all times. Even if someone leaves, at least you have a backup player who can play at that position. Now, when Trent gets injured, let's say he gets injured, now who will play? So now you see that's when you see Milner. Yeah, that's when you see Milner now playing at the position of which so that's actually teams have to sign. Liverpool have to sign players, and I don't know whether the problem is the board or I don't know what's the problem with Liverpool.
And you're coming to the same point that I wanted to talk about. You see, Klopp was asked in an interview whether he'll be signing other players. He said that he's not the right person to ask such a question, that the question should be directed to a different person. Now, I was asking, is it true that Klopp does not decide on the players that he wants to sign at his club? Is it that the board or the scouting departments are the one who decide the kind of player that they want to sign? Because when you look at Pep at City, he demands for players. He's the one who decides on the kind of player that he wants to sign. The same thing happens to Arsenal. It's Arteta who decides the kind of player that you want to sign. Now, for a successful manager like Klopp to say that he shouldn't be asked the kind of players to recruit at Liverpool, is it fair for him? Like, for what he has done at Liverpool? Is it fair for him not to be given that priority? I mean, to be given an authority to get the players that he wants?
Actually, I'd say that he has to be given the authority to choose the players he wants, because he's a very professional guy and he's a very top man. So I think they should give him the authority. The manager is the one who knows what he wants. He knows what this team wants. He knows what is necessary for this team and what it takes for this team to win something. So I think they should give him the authority so that he can, it reaches a point where we don't want to hear any excuses. Fans do not want to hear any excuses. So I think managers like Klopp should have the authority to choose the players. He should demand for the players, like he should say, I want so and so. I want this kind of player. I think it will be very nice, because Liverpool is a very big team, and we've seen them performing for the past few seasons. They won the UEFA Champions League. They won the Premier League after like 30 years. So I think he has to be given the authority to choose the kind of players he wants, because there is a manager who knows what's best for the team.
So apart from the season that they got near, of course, apart from that season that they won a Champions League, and then the second season they went on and won a Premier League, and the season. Remember the season that they won a Champions League, they were very close to winning a Premier League. They only lost it by 1 point. They only lost it by 1 point. They did go on and they went on and won a Champions League. Then thereafter, they came and won a Premier League. So apart from that season, Liverpool has been getting closer to winning titles. I mean, of course, they've won the Carabao and FA Cup, but those are not the titles that you could expect a team like Liverpool to really boast of, because the big trophies are the Premier League and the Champions League. So there's something that I was trying to understand from what his manager does. Liverpool plays with a high intensity, and from apart from last season, the season before, they had a lot of injuries, because a season before that, a season before they had a lot of injuries. They had won a Premier League, so that season that they won a Premier League, they were really playing a very high intensity football. Then the season after that, they got a lot of injuries. Then last season, they were involved in each and every competition. In fact, they got to the last games of each and every competition. Of course, they got to the Champions League final. They got to the last game they were competing for the title until the last game of the season. They also competed for the title. They also competed for the for the Carabao and the FA Cup. When you look at that, these players have been working for so long, man. They've been used for so long. I mean, they seems to be very tired. So that also causes them to get a lot of injuries. The likes of Thiago Alcantara, the likes of Keita, the likes of Jota. These players have been used for so many games. Is it a concern on how the style of play, the way these guys play? Is it a point of concern? Is it something that they should try and change? Maybe they slow a little bit of their intensity and try to change the way they play, so that at least they maintain some of the best players that they have.
Actually, I'd say that actually they have to consider that.
Yeah.
They should consider that, because these players are overworked. These players are overworked, first of all, and that's why I'm talking about squad depth. Squad depth is very important. Squad depth is very important. So actually, these players are overworked and they need to rest, because actually teams play. A team like Liverpool plays in a lot of competitions. So I expect to see a team like Liverpool with a good squad depth. So when I talk about squad depth, Manchester City are a very good example. Even when a substitute player comes on, actually you can notice that he's a very good player. He's a player who can do something for the team. So I think they should have squad depth. It's very, very important. And these guys should sign new players. Liverpool should sign new players. Yeah. So I'm saying that Liverpool should sign new players because you can see like the first team players play in almost all the competitions.
Yeah.
So Liverpool have to sign new players. It's not something to gamble. It's not something to. They have to sign new players in order for them to compete in this kind of competitions because football is tough.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Football and the EPL is tough as well. So this is the reason Man United they lost against Man United because of such like problems. The players were injured. We can see that Darwin Núñez had a red card. So they never had backup players. So that's the major problem. They have to sign new players in order for them to compete in this kind of in those kind of competitions.
Okay, thank you so much, BMTV Kenya. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for being with us here. We appreciate that you're watching. We'll keep on updating you every time when you have something to talk. He's appreciating us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate.
Okay. I was saying tell me about the intensity, their style of play. Of course, see, with the kind of play the kind of style that they use, culminate to them getting a lot of injuries because they play a high level, a high intensity football, a heavy metal football. These guys have play with a lot of intensity. They run. Is it really something that should concern Liverpool players? I mean, Liverpool fans of the style of play that they use. Is this something that should concern Liverpool fans? Their style of play.
Actually, I'm not saying it's. I don't think it has to be a concern. If your style of play, your style of play should always be a style of play, not unless it's not working for you. But if the style of play is working for you, then I think you have to stick to it. If something is not working well for you, if it is not if it is not giving you results, actually, if you try doing something and if it's not giving you good results, then you'll have to switch to other tactics. But this is a style of play that they've been using, and they've been winning games, and we can see that they've been competing with that same style of play. So the problem is, the same players are playing that kind of style of play. So actually, they should have backup players because they play with high intensity. Yes, these players do run a lot. They do run a lot. So these players are being overworked because actually they get worn out because they play each and every game. But if they had backup players, actually you can try rest like Trent Alexander-Arnold. You can try like give him a rest because actually he's playing in the EPL, he's playing in the UCL, he's playing in the domestic cups. I think they should have backup players. Actually, they need to rest. These players need to rest because they can't play the whole season. The reason as to why I said that Bukayo Saka will not be like the past 2 seasons, because Bukayo Saka played each and every game, almost each and every game last season. Yeah, so that should tell you that this player needs a backup player, a player whom will help him because player do get fatigued. Players do get worn out. Players do get injuries. So they should have backup players who can help them in other matches. So I think they have to sign players.
Okay, thank you so much. I can see guys watching. Please, if you're here for the first time and you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel and also give this video a like so that each and every time when you post a video here or when you have a discussion here, you have a live stream, you will be the first one to know. You will be sent a notification so that you come here, we discuss, give us your comments, you tell us what you think about some of the teams that we discussed. Today we are talking about Liverpool. We're discussing about how Liverpool has started the Premier League, the kind of weakness that they have. Do they really have a crisis? Is it something to worry on how their performance is? Is their midfield in a crisis? Is their defense in a crisis? Is their forward in a crisis? If you think Liverpool has a crisis, you can go ahead and tell us in the comment section below. Give us your opinion about Liverpool. Tell us what you think about Liverpool. Do you think they're going to finish in top four this season? Or you think Liverpool are now going to regress? Okay, something that I realized about Liverpool, of course, they gave Salah a contract and a big money contract, right? They gave him a contract, a good
Yes.
money contract. See, I learned something when Arsenal gave Aubameyang a contract, a big money contract. After they gave him a contract, he started regressing. He was not performing as he used to perform before he got a contract. Is it the same thing that is happening at Liverpool now that Salah has a big money contract, and maybe it's causing a lot of disharmony at the dressing room because some of the players believe maybe they deserve more than, or they are also equal to Salah. Is it something that should worry some of Liverpool fans?
Actually, I won't say that it's something they have to be worried about, because actually I'd say that I wouldn't judge Mohamed Salah. As for now, I won't judge him, because actually you can see that from the very first game of the season, all the players are not delivering.
Yeah.
All of them are not delivering. So I'd say that all of them were not at their best. It's not only Mohamed Salah, because Mohamed Salah cannot win the games alone. He cannot deliver. He cannot carry the whole team alone. So I'd only judge him if they play a game, everyone has delivered, and is the only one who has not delivered. So that's what I'm judging. But as per now, I cannot judge Salah because each and every player has not yet delivered. So all of them are not at their best. And there's no reason of which I can say that Mohamed Salah is not good enough. Mohamed Salah is not delivering, or I cannot say it's maybe the contract that is making him not to deliver, because it's simply because the team is not delivering. The whole team is not at the best. So I can only judge him if the rest of the players have delivered. He is the only one who has not delivered. That's when I can judge Mohamed Salah. So I'll try give them some time, and that's when I'll make a judgment about Mohamed Salah.
Okay, you see, when they played against United, this is one of the best fixtures. I mean, this is one of the fixtures that they look forward to. Every time when you see them play against Liverpool, against Man United, you always see the best team, the best version of Liverpool. Every time when they turn up to play against Man United, you will always expect Liverpool to turn up and play very well. But when they when they were meeting United, they did not seem to be at their best. Something that worries, especially it worries me. If they played that, if they were playing that way against United, what will happen when maybe they will meet Manchester City? What will happen when they meet Arsenal? What will happen when they meet Tottenham? What will happen when maybe they'll meet Chelsea? Because at United, a game when every time they play United, even though they are not in a very good form, they always turn up. Is this something that Liverpool fans should be worried? I mean, they didn't turn up to one of the big games of the season. I mean, that is one of the biggest fixtures that they always look forward to.
Yes, I'd say that it's something that should worry the Liverpool fans. Actually, it's very true. Even when Liverpool are not at their best, but you can notice that they play very hard against Man United, because they are a bit rivals. So
Yeah.
actually, it's something that should worry the Liverpool fans, because Liverpool at large, the whole team, is not all the players are not at their best. Actually,
Yeah.
this is not the Liverpool we know. It's not the Liverpool we used to see for the past few seasons. They are not the same. So it's something that should worry the fans a lot. And actually, I think the fans should try, like, the fans have a say, yes. And actually, I know that the Liverpool fans want the team to sign, because actually it's the only solution is to sign players. That's
Yeah.
the only solution. That's the plan A, and that's the plan B. Actually, the only solution is signing new players, bringing in new players. That's the only solution.
Okay. But when you look at them, they've not lost. They've only lost money. Some of the players that are there, or most of the players that are there, are the same players that were there last season, and they used to perform well. They took Manchester United to the Manchester City to the wire. They almost got the Premier League. They got to the two finals, domestic finals in English Premier League. They also got to the Champions League final. They've only lost Mane. So from that, are you saying that Mane was the only important player at the club, or Mane was a very crucial player, very instrumental player to the club? Now that they've lost him, they've also lost the balance. Is it something that should concern Liverpool fans, that now that Mane is not there, then they've lost the balance? Most of the players that were there last season are still there, apart from Mane, who has left the club.
Yes, that's very true. And I'd say that Mane was a very important player. He was a very crucial player, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest, Mane was a very, because you could see like Mane trying to fight for the team. You could see the
Yeah.
fighting spirit. So, and another thing, they lost the Manchester United game because actually these guys, Liverpool do not have an attacking midfielder. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Actually, they do not. Yeah. So, and we saw that Jota had an injury. We
Yeah.
can see that their defenders like Matip and Konate had injuries. We can see that Alcantara had an injury. So players like
Yeah.
Milner had to step up and play the game, of which Man United were very prepared. Man United, because they never had a point, they were on 0 points, so they were very, very prepared for this match. So Liverpool, actually, that's where we see where the problem is. Backup players. They do not have backup players. Actually, they should learn something from the Man United game. Even they could have
Yeah.
learned this game from the very first match. These guys got a draw against Fulham, and they got another draw, and actually they lost against United. So that could have raised an alarm. Actually, they should sign players. That's the only solution. Actually, it's all written. The writings are written on the wall. Actually, these
Yeah.
guys should sign players. That's the only solution. In order for a team to perform, you have to sign new players. You have to spend money. If you do
Yeah.
not spend money, because these are players playing each and every season, the same players. These players do get exhausted. Players do
Yeah.
get worn out, despite
Yeah.
having a break during the pre-seasons and all that before the new season began. These players get worn out, so they have to
Yeah.
get backup players.
So what else is there outside there? I've seen Aubameyang is close to signing Chelsea. And also
Yeah.
Isaac joined Newcastle.
Yes, actually, I've seen that Aubameyang is close signing for Chelsea, and I've seen Alexander Isak. Actually, Alexander Isak is going to Newcastle, so that should tell you. Even a team like Newcastle, they are trying. Alexander Isak is a striker whom every big team wanted. Man United wanted Isak. Arsenal we were close to signing Isak. Also,
Yeah.
Chelsea, you are linked with Alexander Isak. So that should tell you each and every team is trying to sign. We can see that West Ham themselves are trying to sign. Actually,
Yeah.
we've seen that West Ham have signed Emerson, and
Yeah.
they've
They've
signed
signed.
a. So even the average teams are trying to sign new players.
Yeah.
Teams
Sure.
like Everton are trying to sign new players. So that should tell you that a team like Liverpool should sign new players. They have to sign new players. They have to get new players. In order to
Yeah.
compete, you have to spend. If you don't want to spend, then actually you won't get good results. Actually, it's like school. It's like school. You have to have the accessories. You have to have the accessories in order to perform well.
Yeah. Sure.
If you don't have the accessories, then you'll actually you'll
You'll
struggle.
find
You'll strain. So in order
hard to do some task.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
So, guys,
actually, these guys have to sign new players.
they should sign players. They should sign players. So, and then talk to me about Arsenal a bit as we finish. Who
Yeah,
are you looking at? I heard you guys are going for who?
Neto.
I think you're going for Neto.
Yes, we are going for Neto. We mean business. We mean business.
Although Bruno Lage said that he hasn't heard of any proposal from you guys. There's not any bid that you guys have taken to Wolves.
Actually, that's what managers say. That's what these people say.
Yeah.
It is what because you also know that Arsenal, we are a team that actually we make deadline deals. We sign players during the deadline day. It's not the first time. Actually,
Yeah.
we have 1 week remain, and the Neto deal was depending on whether Nicolas Pepe will leave, and Nicolas Pepe is leaving.
I've also seen that you guys are in for Zaha. Zaha will be a replacement for Pepe. If Pepe leaves, you guys will go in for Zaha.
No, it was if Pepe leaves, we were going for Neto. We were going for
Oh,
Pedro Neto.
you're also linked with Zaha. Have you not seen those news?
I've not seen it, but if we are linked with Zaha, then it's not a
It's
bad
really
one. It's not a bad deal.
okay. He's a good kid.
Yeah, it's a good one because we have Martinelli, we have Saka, and we need backup players. It's not an issue. Actually, you
Uh,
can see that Arsenal are trying to be ambitious. They are trying to fight for something. So
uh,
that should tell you that we are ready to compete, and that is what Liverpool should have. Actually, I expect a team like Liverpool to be at the same level. Like they should be they should be trying at least to look up to teams like Real Madrid. They should
uh,
try to be ambitious. But actually, Liverpool are not ambitious when it comes to signings. That is
they're
what
not.
surprises me.
One of the best thing they have is their manager. Of course, their manager is someone who always upgrades some of the players that are there in the club. When you look at his manager, at Liverpool manager, he brought in someone like Robertson from Hull City. Trent, of course, he got him from academy. The likes of Elliot, the likes of Curtis Jones. These are players that are not at. These are the players that you would not expect them to play at Liverpool, but he has really appreciated them to a level that they are now world-class players. So it's that is one of the things that they have. A good manager who doesn't complain a lot when he doesn't sign players, doesn't really jump onto uh, buying players, expensive players. When he does that, he only does that once in a while, and he really likes to improve some of the players that he has. And if such players fit his system, he always makes sure that he takes them and help them to get to good levels. Who knew that Jota will fit in their system? We never knew that
Exactly.
Jota will fit in their system. We didn't know about Simicas.
Yeah.
Eventually, Simicas is also a good replacement to Robertson in the midfield. We never knew whether they'll go for Cavallo. So Carvalho, he came in against United and he was the difference. So some of these players that he gets from the lower teams, these are players that come to Liverpool and he always improves them. Who knew about Wijnaldum? Wijnaldum was at Newcastle. Nobody knew that he will turn up to be a very important player to their team. So he always improves players. So with their manager, I think they have a very good manager. The only thing they need to do is to back him up and help him to give him some good players to give the team that depth that they really require. So I think they'll come good if they go to the market and fish for good players. Now the problem is that nowadays good players are not there anymore. I mean, good players are in big teams. You will always expect to get good players.
Teams are like trying to get big names nowadays, of which I see it's not teams are trying to get big names. But actually, Liverpool, if they want backup players, an example is, people do underrate many players. A player like for example, Adama Traore. Adama Traore plays a very good role for a team. This guy is a game changer. He comes on later. This guy is a game changer. We're ambitious. A good example is that Adama Traore is not that expensive, because actually is not expensive. Let's be honest. So they should try get a player like Adama Traore, who's a game changer. Players like Adama Traore could play in the FA Cup. Actually, they could come in big games as a game changer. A player like Adama Traore is a game changer, because Adama Traore actually steps up in big games. He plays very well in big matches. We can see that. So it's we are not going for big names is not a must, but actually go for good players, actually who can offer something for the team. So that's what teams are going for big names nowadays.
They should go for good.
And that's the problem, because actually a good example is Nicolas Pepe. He performed very well. One season he performed well in Ligue 1, and people are like, okay, this boy is very good. We need to sign him. That's what happened. He did well one season. We bought the guy with actually we bought him 72 million plus 8 million add-ons, which is a total of 80 million. He came to Arsenal, never performed. So I think we have to dig deep. Teams have to dig deep. Teams should be ready to struggle. They should be ready to strain in the transfer market. But by the end of the day, you get a good player. But if you don't want to dig deep, you end up signing the wrong player. Actually, you've named Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota is a very good example. No one knew. Actually, he was very underrated.
He was underrated.
He was very underrated. So, but what happened? He went to Liverpool, and the guy has been winning games for Liverpool. He has been having top performances for the team. So that should tell you, it's not a must for you to sign a big name. Just get good players with good quality. Now, actually, like Tottenham hasn't won trophies for many years, but they are trying to be ambitious.
But
you can say that you can tell that Tottenham to be ambitious.
Okay.
What about a team like Liverpool? They've won. Yes.
Okay, I was looking at Chelsea. You see, with Chelsea, we've been having a tradition of signing players with big names. Remember when Lampard came in at Chelsea? Of course, we had a ban. Then the season after that, we got in the the market and got so many players who had names. Remember, we brought in the likes of Ziyech, we brought in Werner, we brought in Havertz, we brought in Thiago Silva, we brought in Chilwell. These players had names. I mean, they were top talents in Europe. Someone like Werner was scoring at Germany. Someone like Havertz was one of the best wonder kids in the world at that moment. But when you look at, contrary to what City and Liverpool does, because when you look at City, nobody knew about Diaz. Diaz was not a big name in Europe by that time. When he got to Manchester City, no one knew about him. No one knew about Cancelo. No one knew about Rodri. But these players came at City and they got to the system, and they are now stars. I mean, they are good players at the moment. But for Chelsea and some of these teams, and especially Man United and Chelsea, they go for big names who turn up to be flops. I mean, someone like Ziyech, he was a big name. He was a star at Amsterdam. I mean, at Ajax. He was one of the stars at Ajax, and he was one of the best players at Ajax. But when he came to Chelsea, he didn't perform to the expectation of Chelsea fans. Someone like Werner, he was a star at Leipzig. When he came to Chelsea, he did not perform to the expectation of so many fans. So I think there is something that you should learn from, especially City and probably Liverpool. And some of these managers go for the players that they really need to fit their system, which is really not happening at Chelsea and Liverpool. No, at Chelsea and Man United. We can also talk about Arsenal a bit, because they ever since Arteta came in, he's really gone for players that he really feels they fit his system. He got Ben White, who is now doing well. He got Gabriel, who's doing well. He also got in Tomiyasu, who is doing well. Now he got Gabriel, who is also doing good, and also decided to make Odegaard a permanent deal. You remember you had Ceballos at Arsenal, but he did not. Yes. He didn't buy him because he knew that he will sign Odegaard. So when you look at that, I mean, it's not about the names. It is about the players, the quality that, or the kind of the system that you would want to deploy at your team. That is very important. It's very important to get the players that really fit your system. And that is what I think Klopp and Pep are doing. They, apart from Haaland and Grealish, when you look at City, those players, we didn't know about them when it was not until they got to City. That's when we decided. That's when we knew about Rodri. That's when we knew about Cancelo, and that's when we knew about someone like Diaz and Laporte. We didn't know about them. They were not, of course. When you talk about Chelsea at the moment, they've signed Koulibaly. Koulibaly has been a big name in Europe. He's been linked with so many big teams. But with City, they've gone and brought in someone like Alvarez, someone that we didn't know about, someone who has talent, someone who fits their system. So when you look at that, you will realize that City buys players that the manager has approved, and players that really fit to their system. But with Chelsea and Man United, they always go for names, which is, I don't think it's a good thing. I don't really think it's a good thing.
Yeah, actually, teams do not want to stretch their hands further. Teams do not want to strain. Teams do not want to struggle, so they end up going for the big names. But actually, I'd support your point. Actually, what matters is if the player fits your system, because each and every manager wants his team to play with the system he feels like they're going to perform when he plays that kind of a system. So actually, it's not all about the big name. What matters is this player does this player fit into your system? That is all that matters. No matter the age, no matter the team he comes from. Actually, this kind of player fits into your style of play or into your system. then that's a yes. You have to sign him because he fits into your system. But if you just want to go for the big names, because if a good example, if you want to sign a player because he's a big name or he plays for a big team, and actually, the name is all over the world of football in like for more than 4 or 5 seasons. Now that's where you go wrong, because you'll end up signing the player, and you'll be giving him a pay rise compared to the team he comes from. And that's where it all begins. He'll end up not performing, because actually you'll be having high expectations. You'll be expecting him to perform the way he used to perform for his former team, of which it's very hard to happen. And when a player, a big name comes into the Premier League, especially the Premier League is very tough. Actually, I expected Haaland to be to be consistent when it comes to scoring goals, but you can see Haaland is a very good player, but the EPL is very tough.
It's a bit tough, but he's tried to be consistent. He scored in 2 games out of 3, so he's tried. I mean,
but actually. Yes, but actually, when he was in the Bundesliga, you like guarantee him. It was a guarantee you'd see him score like 2 goals each and every game. He was scoring day in, day out. He was just scoring goals. So actually, the EPL is a very tough league. Actually, you should consider signing players if only that kind of player is fits into your system. It will be better.
Okay. Thank you so much, Reg, for coming. At least we talked about Liverpool. It's a topic that, of course, not so many people are comfortable talking about. They still believe that Liverpool are in the same position they were last season. They'll still compete. But a team like Liverpool not winning their first 3 matches should worry some of Liverpool fans, because you would not expect Liverpool, a team that has consistency in winning games, because we know there are only 2 teams in England who can maintain the same consistency of winning games: Liverpool and Manchester City. These are teams when they go on a run winning games, they can win 20 to 24 games in a row. So when they don't win 3 games in a row, there must be a problem at that team. So at least we talked about them, talked about the depth. They should at least try and look for some of the players to replace those who are injured, and some of the players who have been there for a long time. Of course, sometimes fatigue kicks in, and players don't perform as they are expected to perform. So that is what we had to talk about today about Liverpool. Guys, if you are here for the first time and you've not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel, so that each and every time you are here, we have a discussion, you will be the first one to know. So tomorrow we'll be here again. Tomorrow I think I will try and have 2 streams. We will be talking about some of the things that are coming up, especially we talk about the transfers. If tomorrow it happens that Aubameyang joins Chelsea, we'll talk about it. We'll also talk about United, talk about Gakpo joining United, and some of the news. There are also news that heard that apart from Gakpo, I heard that Anthony is also joining United. We'll talk about that, talk about the transfers in general. And again, we'll be looking at some of the things that will be happening tomorrow, try to dissect into them and because it's football. We'll talk about football in total. So thank you so much, guys. Let's meet tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if you're here and you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing, so that each and every time when you post a video here, you will be the first one to know. Make sure that you like the video, so that this video can be recommended to other viewers to watch, so that we can grow together as a family. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. For the one those who are watching, make sure that you subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye. See you later tomorrow.